This is baseball, Major League Baseball. And this is Mel Allen saying, get set for baseball personalities. Swing into baseball action. Catch on to the excitement of another big week in baseball. Let's bring it all home as Major League Baseball presents This Week in Baseball. Here's a real picture of power. The home run swing of Philadelphia's Mike Schmidt, a swing that has produced more home runs than any other in baseball the last 3 years. It also helped produce a divisional title for the Phillies last year. So did this, the power swing of the Bull, Greg Luzinski. Last year, these two sluggers formed the most feared 1-2 power punch in the game. But this season, the power has been slow to explode. So have the Phillies. The National League Eastern Division champs were clear favorites this year, but in the early going, they've had some trouble bringing the runs home. Didn't make it there. You gotta push harder when you're defending a title, and sooner or later, the runs will come. Ah, that's more like it. Keep pushing, and the ball is bound to bounce your way. Like that, he's out. Potential hits often become outs, and sometimes 2 outs. The Phils have started to win with some extra effort, the kind demonstrated often by Gary Maddox. In fact, Maddox seems almost willing to risk his life to make an important catch. Now watch this play made earlier in the season. Don't worry, Gary is still hanging in, and the Phils are still hanging into their divisional race. Also helping them hang in is second baseman Ted Sizemore, new to the cast in this year's version of the Philadelphia story. Sizemore took over the role for second baseman Dave Cash, and his reviews have been a hit. In fact, as you see here, a lot of hits that help score runs. And get all-star votes. You can be sure the Philly fans will be voting for their perennial all-stars, Luzinski and Schmidt. Mike Schmidt hasn't been hitting many homers lately. He'd been trying to hit to the opposite field for a higher batting average. Last week, he was told to forget it. He did, remembered his power stroke, and smashed 5 homers in the week to break out of the slump and get back into the competition for the home run leadership. The Philadelphia power shortage was being restored, not only by Schmidt, but also by the other half of the power punch, Greg Luzinski. Last Saturday, the Bulls stepped up against the Braves with the bases loaded, and he unloaded. Going, it is gone. A grand slammer. The Bull collected 7 RBIs in that game, 14 over the week to go with 4 home runs. The Phils have a tough fight ahead if they want to win their division again, but it's much simpler when the runs come home this way, in a slow trot, nice and easy. Just like those nice and easy Philadelphia power swings. Over the American League West, The Kansas City Royals are another divisional winner who've had some problems. So far, they've not been able to show much control in their divisional race. Rod Carew and the Minnesota Twins have been hitting all year. Scoring runs and galloping away from the Royals and the other teams in the West. The Royals realize that someone has to stop that hitting. Well, that's one way, as demonstrated by the Royals' Andy Hassler. Hassler did stop the Twins in the game last week with some fine pitching. Defense will also stop hitting. George Brett helps out at third base. And watch this play by second baseman Frank White. Of course, the Royals can hit too. Hal McRae, the league's top designated hitter. George Brett, last year's batting champ. And Big John Mayberry, the man the Royals need to knock in the runs. Big John and the Royals just wanted to remind the Twins how they won the title last year. To win it this year, the Royals will need strong pitching from their ace, Dennis Leonard. He gave it to them last week with a good effort against the Brewers, striking out slugger Cecil Cooper 4 times. After a slow start, Leonard seems to be returning to last year's form. This year, the key to Royals' expectations may be Al Cowens, emerging now as a real star. Cowens missed a few weeks early in the season. Since then, few players have been as hot as he has. He's been up among the leaders in almost everything. Hits, RBIs, runs scored, triples, home runs, stolen bases. He does the 5 basic things important to a star. Hit with power, throw, run, and catch the ball. You name it, the Royals have been getting it from Al Cowens. It seems like only yesterday when Sandy Koufax was setting more strikeout records than anyone could count. One of the best was 97 games of 10 or more strikeouts. Nolan Ryan is now challenging that record. This week, he twice struck out 10 or more in a game, 19 in one of them, giving him a total of 93, 4 short of Koufax. Meantime, Tom Seaver got into the act, striking out 10 Reds last week to also pass Koufax on the all-time strikeout list. That made Tom 13th on the list, so Sandy's 14th, right? Wrong. A few nights later, Ferguson Jenkins found himself getting a big hand from the fans at Fenway Park. He had just struck out a batter to also pass Koufax on the all-time list. And now Jenkins is 14th on that list. So Sandy just isn't having one of his better years. One pitcher who is certainly having the best year of his career is Steve Rogers of the Montreal Expos. Last year, Rogers lost 17 games. But this year, he leads the league in strikeouts and has the best earned run average among starters in the league. Take last week. Against the St. Louis Cardinals in one game, the only hit he gave up was a single to Mike Tyson. And he can strike him out, too. In his next outing, he beat the Atlanta Braves while allowing them only 1 run. Take a deep breath now, Steve. You've almost got it. And there it is. A game-ending double play. Watch it. One. And there's the second. When teams come to play in Mr. Rogers' neighborhood, you'd swear no one ever told them about this year's so-called lively ball. Whether that ball is juiced up or not, the Boston Red Sox go right on smashing it. How about that? Boston did that to the Baltimore Orioles last week in a brief encounter between divisional contenders. Baltimore ace Jim Palmer was out to calm down those bats the next day, and if anyone can do it, Palmer should. He's certainly the most respected pitcher in the American League, but the Red Sox haven't shown much respect for any pitcher this season. The Red Sox say, you throw it, we'll hit it. Fred Lynn hit that one for a home run off Palmer. These days, Fenway fans are never satisfied with just one home run, even against Palmer. Stepping up now is Jim Rice. The pitch on the way. Rice likes it. He swings. And there it goes. A long one to deep right field, and it's in there for a home run. Remember 1975 when Lynn and Rice led the Sox to the World Series? Think they remember that at Fenway Park? In case anyone might forget, Rice went out and clouded another homer in the same game. They sure remember. Now, is it possible that the Orioles might recall the 1975 Red Sox? Remember Bill Lee? He's now back to his 75 pitching form. Boston has changed a few Sox since then, like Butch Hobson, who's doing a job at third base this year. And relief ace Bill Campbell, who can really put on the finishing touch. Campbell cost the Sox $1 million, but he keeps paying dividends in wins and saves and quick, hard strikes. The payoff of this victory was that the Sox finally passed the Birds in the standings. And a few days later, they passed the Yankees into first place. Now, do the Yankees recall 1975? Baseball's Cinderella team, the Chicago Cubs, came home to Wrigley Field this week and kept right on winning. They beat the Los Angeles Dodgers twice, the San Francisco Giants 4 times, and if you don't know by now, the fans will shout from the rooftops that the Cubs have been playing better baseball than anybody. In addition to the 4-game sweep over the Giants, Chicago fans got an extra treat. Former Cub Bill Madlock was back in a different uniform and showed the fans he still had that same sweet stroke, the stroke that won him 2 batting titles with the Cubs over the past 2 years. Madlock was traded during the winter for another star, Bobby Mercer. Some fans questioned the trade at the time, but now that the Cubs are in first place and Mercer keeps knocking in runs, the questions have stopped. Yes, Madlock and Mercer can both play the game. Good play, Bill. Hold it right there, Bobby. They're known names, but it's the unknown names that have put the Cubs in first. Ivan DeJesus, the little shortstop who fields, hits, and runs. Larry Bittner, hitting .300. And now showing Willie McCovey his arm. Bruce Sutter, perhaps the best reliever in the game right now. And if you don't believe it, he's accounted for practically half of the Cubs' victories. And above all, Manny Trillo, who surprisingly leads the National League in hitting. He keeps on hitting while playing a brilliant second base. An all-star candidate? Just ask the fans at Wrigley why the Cubs are in first. They'll tell you it has a lot to do with Manny Trillo. The fact is, everyone is playing well on this team. The Cubs play hard together, and the victories just keep coming home. The Cubs weren't supposed to be in a pennant race, but they are, with plays like this one. It's the bottom of the 11th inning, and it's a squeeze play, and here comes the winning run. Other teams may be surprised, but Cub fans are beginning to expect it. Dodger pitcher Don Sutton did manage to beat the Cubs, despite some peculiar behavior on the mound. Watch what he does to the ball. Has Don done something improper? Well, the umpire thinks so. And he gives Sutton the old heave-ho. Now, that really makes Sutton angry. See, the umpires had questioned Sutton earlier about the possibility of doctoring the ball with a foreign substance. But his manager, Tom Lasorda, said it wasn't so. Unfair harassment by the officials or some such plea, says he. Now, whether this defendant had a case or not is hard to tell, but it's clear that some of his actions could only be ruled out of order. So Sutton finally becomes resigned to his punishment. But managers, like all lawyers, will argue till the cows come home. Confusing? Try this. The Milwaukee Brewers are playing the Kansas City Royals. While the Royals were having a few problems holding on to the ball, they also had other problems. What's wrong with this picture? Look closer. A Kansas City player is in a Brewers uniform. What caused this Royal mix-up? It seems someone broke into the KC locker room and stole most of their uniforms. Here's a Milwaukee Brewer hitting the ball and a Milwaukee Brewer catching the ball. Well, it's tough enough to lose your uniform, but it's even tougher to lose the game. How about that? You know, if they made Rod Carew play in a hockey uniform, complete with padding and skates, he'd still probably lead the league in hitting. Some people call Carew a singles hitter, but how many singles hitters can do this? Hit the ball into the upper deck at Yankee Stadium. Such prodigious clouts are usually reserved for the likes of Babe Ruth or Mickey Mantle, but for Carew, it's just another base hit. He came into the game batting .383 and left hitting .388. While hitting homers may not be Carew's trademark, it is for this man, Willie McCovey of the San Francisco Giants. He may be 39 years old, but he can still rip 'em. Let 'em rip, Stretch. And there it goes. Right up into the stands. And that home run enabled Willie to catch Stan the Man Musial on the all-time home run list, number 475. But Willie isn't thinking about the past. He's having a pretty good year at 39, or any age. Besides, some guys have made whole careers out of being 39 years old. Lou Brock is another guy who's been around for a while and isn't ready to slow down. Looks like he's after something. Ty Cobb's career record of 892 stolen bases, and Lou is closing in on it mighty fast. He's taking them one at a time, though, and don't think he isn't counting. The immortal Jackie Robinson also had great base-running ability and agility. This is the 30th anniversary of the breaking of baseball's color barrier, which Jackie did in 1947. Commissioner Bowie Kuhn announced that the week of the All-Star Game will honor that event and that man. It took a rare man to be able to do what Jackie Robinson did. It also took a rare man to make the kind of plays he made day after day. Back to 1977, here are the Gillette plays of the week. First, the American League. Watch veteran Red Sox star Carl Yastrzemski. He's going back, and he's got it. How about that? What a catch. And how about the Bulls, Greg Luzinski? His Grand Slam homer and 7 RBIs in one ball game earns him honors for outstanding play in the National League this week. Friends, wherever Major League Baseball is played, it's always a thrill to go out and see a ball game. Plan on it. There's nothing else quite like it. Goodbye, everybody.